Tang Swan, 42 years old, had a severe nut and dairy allergy. According to a lawsuit filed by her husband, Jeffrey Piccolo, they asked the waiter several times if the food was allergen-free.
They said the waiter over there, they confirmed that. No dairy, no nut.
In the lawsuit against Great Irish Pubs Florida and Walt Disney Parks and Resorts, the plaintiff alleges the waiter guaranteed the food being delivered was allergen-free. About 45 minutes later, Tang Swan began having severe difficulty breathing and collapsed to the floor. The medical examiner saying the cause of death was a result of anaphylaxis due to elevated levels of dairy and nut in her system. Tang Swan did self-administer an EpiPen, but it did not save her.
Disney, where magic takes a backseat to profit, folks. We're going to dive into it in the next 15 seconds.
Do you want the truth? Are you tired of being so confused? You feel like you're more f***ed up than the lies on the evening news? Well, just step right in. We can talk about it all as friends. And if you want, we can...
Good morning, Don't Unfriend Me Nation. Matthew Spear from the Don't Unfriend Me Show. This is Still Point, the band for the Don't Unfriend Me Show. Welcome. Thanks for stopping by. Disneyland, Disney World. Let's see. I've been to Disney Japan, Disney Los Angeles, Disney Florida, Disney France. I think there's Disney China. I don't even know if there's any others, but I've been to Disneyland since I was a young boy. Disneyland Anaheim, California, to be specific, we must have gone 1,000 times, it seems. In the summer, we would be up there 2 to 3 times a week, and it was just a hop, skip, and a jump from where we lived. And then growing up, that kind of went into the military wherever I served. It was just kind of important to go to Disneyland if we were in a country that housed the theme park. Grew up on the movies, grew up on the culture, whether it be Tron or watching the Disney cartoons or whatever. It was always a magical place. It was some place where we could go and escape, and it was amazing. I remember when I was a young kid, we would walk in and it would be Tomorrowland and Foreverland, and you would have everything end with land. And I remember asking my mom, where's Pottyland? And, you know, the memories are there. You could walk down Main Street in Disney and smell the vanilla and the chocolate chip cookies being pumped into the aromatic and memory-filled air. It was an experience that we all cherished and loved, and it went through our adult life. My family and I lived in Bakersfield, and we would drive the 2 hours some odd to Anaheim every weekend. We had season tickets, and on average, we would spend $3,000-$4,000 in Disneyland, spoiling our kids incessantly. Makeup trips and being knighted and having a one-on-one battle with Darth Maul or Vader, getting to, go to lunch with the characters and staying at the most expensive hotels. And it was an addiction. It was fantastic, and it was amazing. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. The memories were great. And I can say with no doubt in my mind that my family, as a youngster and as an adult, has given at least $100,000 to Disney at least. And that's pretty typical for a Californian or a Floridian or anywhere else where we grew up with Disney, is that we did it as kids and we wanted to do it as an adult. And I reminisce about this because Disney is no longer the most magical place on earth. I believe it's where magic is not necessarily the focus. It's all about profit. And from the cultural phenomenon that it once was to the political mess that it is now, really, magic takes a backseat to profit. The story that we open with is an interesting one. Joseph Piccolo is suing Disney World after his wife died due to what we heard, an alleged negligence at Disney World restaurants in regards to her allergy. Now, people suffer from allergies all over the world. Some can really just be a minor annoyance, and some can actually take your life. And we all know this. We all have family who have peanut allergies or allergic to bees, but this is a little bit different. This was somebody frequenting an establishment inside Disney parks in Florida And Joseph and his wife were there and talked to the waiter and specifically, incessantly explained that she had deathly allergic allergies to lactose and to nuts. And this is one of the largest principles inside the waiting industry, as someone who has done it for many years when I was younger, is when you take an order, you want to make sure that you are asking those questions, especially if it's a part of the menu, because you're really the last line of defense between that person getting deathly ill or just ill to a point where the restaurant would be culpable. And that's a lot to put in people's hands who are young and making tips. But the interesting thing is they administered an EpiPen and got her to the hospital, and the abundance of and quantities of food that she was allergic to, her body simply could not handle. And this is truly what's terrifying. This isn't somebody who touched peanuts and then put their hand on the plate and somehow a contact allergy took place. This is an anaphylactic shock from the amount of quantity that they put in her food. Now, a lot of people will ask, well, why did she eat it? Well, that's the crazy part, folks, is that when you have a food allergy, my wife is actually allergic to onions of all things and cayenne pepper. Is you can put small quantities of onions and cayenne pepper and you may not be able to see them and you may not be able to taste it, but it is there. And a lot of people in the food industry believe that just brushing off some pepper off of some shrimp and then reserving it is acceptable. And it's not. And she has had allergy issues at restaurants. And this is just something that people understand. But Disney doesn't seem to understand. Joseph filed a $50,000 lawsuit. Now, in today's world, a $50,000 lawsuit for wrongful death is a pittance. That's going to cover pretty much burial expenses and probably paying off some debt and things to that effect. It's nothing. And in fact, it's probably, in my opinion, what makes this entire process so very, very sad is you have two people who are not interested in making millions off this, because one's dead and the other one is grieving and simply is saying, this is what we feel Disney owes at the very least. And I think any lawyer or anyone who's went to small claims or sued somebody can tell you that this is probably one of the key indicators that the egregious nature of this is altruistic. Disney doesn't find that to be so. Some unnamed lawyer has decided to go ahead and go through the annals of terms and conditions from when Joseph was on his PlayStation in 2017 and signed up for Disney Plus, a free trial, 30 days, which a lot of the PlayStations force bundle. And if you want to take part in their games that are Pixar related or whatever, Star Wars, they force you to sign up for an account. Disney argues right now that he agreed to a binding arbitration when he signed up for Disney Plus that claims it applies across all Disney services, including their parks, their Blu-ray sales, even if you buy a hat. And this catch-all issue, they're insisting that this broad clause somehow negates Disney from taking ownership of someone they killed. Now, this isn't the first time that Disney has been involved in poor decision-making. The legal challenges from Piccolo's lawyers, and any lawyer is going to be able to pick this apart, no pun intended. They think it's absurd and unreasonable for Disney to apply a streaming service agreement to park-related tragedies. Imagine if the Matterhorn goes off the rails. Well, fortunately, you decided to go ahead and stream that Boba Fett series, so Fortunately, you have to die broke in bedlam. It's really unfair when you think about it. When a $1 billion company within a quarter of a second makes the interest it would take to pay this guy what he at a minimum deserves. In all essence, this is a violation of consumer protection laws. And there are plenty of laws that protect the consumer from things like this, but using a clause that's buried in a 2017 terms and conditions, which nobody reads. In the history of the world, two things are true. No one's ever been corrected on Facebook and admit that they were wrong. And the second thing is nobody reads the terms and conditions. I remember the first time I signed for my house. After the first 46 pages, I just was that point. I was just like, just sign it. I don't care what's on it. Just sign my life away. My third-born child is sacrificed. Fine. Just get me out of this damn place. But this isn't the first political backlash that Disney's had. The parental rights and education law, and the Don't Say Gay bill, which never said the word gay in any way, shape, or form. This led to massive national implications as Governor Ron DeSantis fought Disney and won as they threatened to revoke Disney's special district status with their taxes, almost being a church where they were tax exempt. And this was for Florida's sake, and this was to boom travel and tourist populations during the summer months. But when you literally are worth billions and you own parks all over the world that are making the largest movies that are opening with, $500 million weekends, I think you can afford to pay your taxes. But this is also something that's come up is their content disputes. There's a lot of people who are going after Disney for grooming children and putting in child's programming, adult content. And this has led to boycotts and people boycotting Disney Plus and not going to their parks. Even the parks themselves. When I was there, I'm not kidding, $3,000 for a 3-day weekend. You're looking at $250 for a 1-day pass for a family of 4. Then you've got hotel arrangements, and whether you go off Disney or you go into the Disney resorts, you're looking at $1,000 to $1,500 there. Food is going to cost you $1,000. And breakfast, lunch, and dinner in the parks, they're $100 to $150 for a family of 4, just for the moderate sit down, have breakfast with some pancakes, orange juice, whatever. It's expensive, and there's no doubt about it. You take a look at Disney Plus and ESPN Plus, the subscriptions have absolutely declined. ESPN has become a political nightmare. They don't talk about sports anymore. They want to talk about Donald Trump. Nobody cares what your opinion is. Just show us the damn scores. But people are revoking it. Box office failures. Take a look at Indiana Jones, Dial of Destiny, Buzz Lightyear. They've all underperformed. In fact, Disney hasn't had a hit in quite a while. They got lucky with Deadpool and Wolverine, but let's face it, that's about as Disney as Helter Skelter or Children of the Corn. Deadpool was long established by Fox, and that success emanated from that company, not necessarily Disney. They just let Ryan Reynolds and team do what they did. There's been layoffs and budget cuts amid declining profits. Disney announced massive layoffs, including 7,000 jobs, and reduced spending in an effort to cut $5.5 billion from its budget. That doesn't sound like a little trimming. It sounds like a fire sale. We've talked about the parks pricing. We've talked about the add-ons that take place, the upcharges now, very similar to everything else, whether it's streaming services or your local Cost Club membership. There's always the extra added value with Genie Plus and Lightning Lane and all these fast names, which really just comes down to you have more money than anyone else, so therefore we're going to put you in line first, which slows it down even more. All it does is just allow people to cheat, which explains Disney's overall mantra. It really has been replaced with greed over magic. The once happiest place on earth is increasingly seen as a cash grab. Many feelings that the focus has shifted from delivering that magical experience that I'm talking about to maximizing profits. And this is just one. The lawyer who did this watched too much Perry Mason, too much LA Law, to find some obscure clause in the terms and conditions to avoid paying $50,000 for someone you killed is a little bit villainesque and not necessarily magical princess and hero time. You know, we can all wish upon a star that Disney somehow finds its way and finds the value that it once had. but the colors aren't as bright. The fireworks don't pop as loud. The smell of chocolate chip cookies has been replaced with greed and just an overall lackluster performance for what was great at one point. And this is what happens when you become politically active in the fray, when you choose which customers you want to appease to and others you want to lament that enter your park. I haven't felt welcome at Disney in a long while, and my money no longer goes there for a reason. One is that I can't afford it, and second, I really don't want to. Disneyland, do better. Cut a check for $50,000 and then go ahead and add a zero to it. And may God have mercy on your souls. You people are just as bad as the villains that you pretend to conquer. They've taken over your entire company. Folks, thanks for watching the Don't Unfriend Me show. Please stop by tonight, 7 o'clock, if you would not mind. Would love to see you. We're going to be live, and we'll have Olivia and myself here. Actually, maybe I'm running solo tonight. Yes, I am. I'll talk to you soon. God bless, and thanks for watching the Don't Unfriend Me show.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, Olivia, and Mike. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on the Spreely.tv network and all major social media channels at The DUM Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.